eclipse periods are like gateway periods in the midst of a year. And generally, we have an eclipse every 6 months. And when an eclipse happens, it begins to set changes in motion for the following 6 months. I have a special offer open for you on my Empower Hours and my Empower Hour Plus consultations that will take a look ahead at the next 6 months to help you to strategize how to make the most of this particular eclipse season. All you need to do is use the code SIX, that's SIX, at the link that you see above. So give things a little more time. That's what they always say. But what they never really let you know is how much time should you really give things? And in the midst of doing that, how much BS should you really put up with in the process? And when your patience is wearing thin, do you keep giving things a little more time? Or is it perhaps better at that particular moment in time that you give things a little bit of space and take space from the situation that's causing you the level of stress that you're experiencing while you're trying to give things a little more time? Or do you just stay involved with the situation? It's a really profound period as we're approaching the lunar eclipse that takes place on the 5th of May. Your patience is wearing thin with the situation as Father Time seems to be moving the hands of time forward. It feels to you as if a particular situation isn't really getting where you were hoping it was going to be getting by this particular moment in time. And so you do find yourself in a bit of a questioning conundrum of how much time should you really give things? How much patience should you apply to a particular situation? It may feel to you as if nothing is changing at the present moment, but quite often when we're dealing with periods of time that are hallmarked by the lunar mansion of Vishakha. Lunar mansions are the same thing as nakshatras. When we're going through those periods of times, quite often it can feel like we're stuck in a situation. I always like using the analogy, and please pardon if this is your actual situation, but I like using the analogy of imagine that you're in a position where you've broken up with your partner, but you have to live in the same house with them. So you end up in a position where things seem to be moving in one direction, in a way that is moving away from the relationship, but you're still kind of stuck with the period of the past. And so quite often that's what happens with Vishakha Nakshatra is we have this split path, a fork in the road where some sort of a decision is needing to be made. Do we go to the left? Do we go to the right? Or do we just stand there at the crossroads, biding our time, hoping that things are going to become a little bit clearer? But when it feels to you like things are not going to be as clear as you would like for them to be, and you've been patiently waiting, well, sometimes it feels like that threshold moment is upon us. So here's where you find yourself at this particular moment. You can either choose to move on from a particular situation because you feel that you've given it enough time, or you can choose to give things a little more time, or you can choose to give things a little bit of space and time. But in either way, even if you stick with the present situation that you're dealing with, allowing time for things to evolve, things are never going to be the same again. Never. They're never, ever going to be the same way again. But guess what? That's a really good thing because you need for things to be completely different. Sorry, I had to put the drama effect in there because you needed that impact so you'd understand that things are really moving in an exceptionally positive direction, regardless of whether or not it feels to you as if things are getting anywhere at all. At present, the evolution of the situation is probably taking place and crystallizing more on an internal level than it is on an external level, as this particular lunar eclipse, and lunar eclipses are always marked by a full moon that happens in close proximity to one of the nodes. But as this is also being aspected by a retrograde Mercury, which is in the lunar mansion of Bharani, and Bharani equally represents somewhat of a portal, right? So both Bharani and Vishakha tend to have a very portal-oriented energy to them, like a way of purifying the past and moving forward. But with the retrograde Mercury, it's taking place more on a reflective level and more on an internal level than it is necessarily on an external level. The choice ultimately is up to you. In either way that you decide to go, I do mean things are never going to be the same way again, but things are transpiring in a way that's going to move things in a way that you're going to be relieved that things are never going to be the same way again. If you could use a little bit of assistance in terms of understanding, should I stay or should I go away from this particular situation? I'm happy to help you. And as I mentioned, there is a special offer open on my Empower Hour consultations, as well as the Empower Hour Plus consultations, which are my 90-minute sessions. And if you use the discount code 6 at the link you'll see above, that will allow you to schedule one of those consultations. It's high time to purify the past so that you can cross the threshold in power and perhaps a little bit of style. That's going to do it for this look at the lunar eclipse, which takes place in Vishakha Nakshatra on the 5th of May, 2023. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.